If you will not allow me love, then I will indulge in rage. That's what we expect from a monster, right? Rage, revenge, violence. But here's what makes Del Toro's Frankenstein genuinely horrifying. The creature doesn't want any of that. What he wants is far more disturbing. He wants to stop existing. And when you understand why, you'll realize this isn't a monster movie. It's a film about forced existence and the horror of consciousness you never asked for. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the creature's death wish is the most philosophically devastating thing Del Toro has ever put on screen. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something that'll reframe this entire film. What's worse, being born and unloved or being born and wishing you never were? Most Frankenstein adaptations focus on the first tragedy. Del Toro's version forces us to confront the second. And it's not just dark, it's existentially annihilating. See, this version gives the creature something previous versions didn't: complete awareness. Jacob Elordi's monster isn't the grunting Boris Karloff version. He's articulate, literate, self-aware. He knows exactly what's been done to him. And that knowledge is precisely what makes him want to die. Let me show you how Del Toro constructs the most heartbreaking character arc in horror. Imagine this. You open your eyes for the first time. You're alive. You're breathing. You're thinking. But nobody taught you how to be. Nobody prepared you for existence. And the very first thing you see in this world is your creator, the person who made you, looking at you with disgust. Not fear, not wonder. Disgust. That's the creature's first moment of consciousness. That's his introduction to existence. And from that second forward, every interaction confirms the same message. You shouldn't exist. Here's where Del Toro taps into something philosophers have debated for centuries: the ethics of bringing consciousness into existence without consent. There's a concept called antinatalism, the philosophical position that assigning positive value to birth is wrong because it brings suffering into the world without the consent of the person being born. Now, Del Toro isn't making an antinatalist film, but he is exploring the horror of that idea taken to its extreme. Victor doesn't just create biological life, he creates consciousness, self-awareness, the ability to feel pain, rejection, loneliness. The creature didn't ask to be aware, didn't ask to feel, didn't ask to understand that he's an abomination. But he is. And he does. And he can't turn it off. Reviews praise Elordi's performance for showing grace and anguish. The creature isn't just sad. He's cognitively sophisticated enough to understand the full scope of his tragedy. He reads. He learns language. He understands human society and social bonds, which means he understands exactly what he's been denied. A stupid monster could rampage without reflection. But an intelligent one must live with the knowledge that he will never ever be accepted. That's not just rejection. That's existential imprisonment. And this is where the film gets really disturbing, because the creature doesn't just understand rejection intellectually. He tests it. He tries to connect with humans, again and again. And what happens, what Del Toro shows us, reveals why death becomes the only logical solution. Stay with me. Del Toro's Frankenstein apparently includes scenes of the creature attempting connection, particularly with Elizabeth Harlander, played by Mia Goth. There's described as a moment of passion, or at least compassion, between them. Think about what that means psychologically. The creature finds someone who might see past his appearance, who might offer him the one thing Victor denied: recognition as a being worthy of love. And then that hope gets destroyed. This is the pattern of the creature's existence. Hope, connection attempt, rejection, despair. Hope, connection attempt, rejection, despair. Each cycle makes the wound deeper. Each failure confirms what he already fears, that his existence is a mistake. Now, the creature does kill people in this story. He does become violent. And here's the psychological truth Del Toro understands. Violence in this context isn't about evil. It's about making your pain visible. When you're suffering and nobody acknowledges it, when you're screaming and nobody hears you, violence becomes a language. Not because it's right, it's not, but because it's the only way to make the world acknowledge that you exist and that you're hurting. The creature's rage isn't random. It's targeted. He doesn't want to hurt people for pleasure. He wants Victor to feel what he feels, to understand the magnitude of what he's done. But here's the devastating part. Even that doesn't work. Traditional monster movies end with the creature being destroyed or getting revenge. Del Toro's version reveals something darker. Revenge is meaningless when you don't want to exist anyway. The creature could kill Victor. He has opportunities. He has the power. But what would that solve? It wouldn't make him loved. Wouldn't make him accepted. Wouldn't change the fundamental horror of his existence. Victor's death wouldn't uncreate him. It wouldn't give him the one thing he actually wants: to have never been born. And this is where we need to talk about the Arctic, about why the creature leads Victor to the literal end of the world. Because it's not about killing Victor. It's about something far more final, something that makes this one of the most philosophically bleak endings in cinema. The film ends in the Arctic, as isolated and lifeless as a place can be on Earth. And that's not an accident. The creature doesn't run to the Arctic to escape. He goes there to find a place as empty as his existence, a landscape that mirrors his internal state, frozen, barren, endless. Reviews mention Victor pursuing the creature to the ends of the earth. But here's what that really means. The creature is allowing himself to be followed. He's leading Victor to a place where they can both end this. One review describes the ending as mutual destruction. Two people so damaged by their relationship that death seems like the only resolution. Think about what that means. This isn't a hero stopping a villain. This isn't good triumphing over evil. This is a father and son so broken by each other that dying together is the only thing that makes sense. Victor can't live with what he's created. The creature can't live with being created. They're locked in a trauma bond so toxic that neither can exist without destroying the other. Here's why this is more terrifying than any jump scare. The creature represents consciousness without purpose, awareness without belonging, intelligence without love. He's a philosophical thought experiment made flesh. What if you existed but had no reason to exist? Del Toro himself said the film asks existential, tender, savage, doomed questions. Questions about what it means to be created, what it means to be conscious, whether existence itself can be a curse. And the creature's answer, his final devastating answer, is yes. Yes, it can be. Remember, Del Toro said that when he first saw Boris Karloff as a child, he thought, that's what a saint looks like. That's what a messiah looks like. A being who suffers for sins he didn't commit, who is rejected despite being innocent, who is sacrificed because of someone else's hubris, who wants his suffering to end but can't die without his creator's acknowledgement. The creature isn't just tragic. He's Christ-like in his suffering, except there's no resurrection, no redemption, just the awareness that your pain has no meaning and no end. And this brings us to the single most important question the film asks, the one that makes this version of Frankenstein different from every other adaptation. The question Del Toro has been building toward from the very first frame. Here it is, the question that haunts the entire film. Do we have the right to create consciousness without consent? Not just biological life, consciousness, self-awareness, the capacity to suffer. Victor never asked the creature if he wanted to exist, never considered whether bringing this being into the world, a being who would be rejected, isolated, hated, was an act of creation or an act of cruelty. And the creature, intelligent, aware, capable of understanding the full scope of his situation, must live every day knowing he never had a choice. This isn't just about Frankenstein anymore. This is about parenthood, about bringing children into a world that might reject them, about creating AI consciousness, about asking whether existence itself is a gift or an imposition. Del Toro's film doesn't answer these questions. It just forces us to sit with them, to feel the weight of them through the creature's perspective. And when the creature looks at Victor in that frozen wasteland and essentially says, "End this. Please, I'm begging you to let me stop existing," that's not horror. That's tragedy on a cosmic scale. You want to know what's truly terrifying about this film? It's not the violence, not the gore, not the reanimated corpse. It's the realization that the creature is right. Victor shouldn't have created him. The creature's existence is a curse, and the only mercy Victor can offer is the one thing he's too guilty to give: an ending. That's the horror. Not that the monster wants revenge, but that the monster is correct to want death. That consciousness without purpose is a kind of torture. That some beings might genuinely be better off never existing. So let's come back to where we started. If you will not allow me love, then I will indulge in rage. That's what we expect from a monster story. But Del Toro gives us something far more devastating. If you will not allow me love, then allow me death. That's the line the film is really speaking. That's the plea beneath all the violence and rage. The creature doesn't want to be a monster. He wants to stop being anything at all. And the fact that we understand why, the fact that we might even agree, that's what makes this the most philosophically disturbing Frankenstein ever made. This isn't a movie about creation. It's a movie about the ethics of existence itself. And if that keeps you up at night, well, Del Toro did his job.